Much like its predecessor, Warcraft II is often overlooked in favor of its popular sequel, Warcraft III. Warcraft II might not have characters like Arthas or Illidan in it, but I honestly like it more than the third game, just purely from an RTS perspective. If you didn't enjoy the original Warcraft, this game blows it out of the water and holds up quite well for a game from 1995. In this video, I'm going to show you how to step back into Lordaeron, whether it's your first time or if you're returning after years away. As with all my videos, feel free to skip ahead and check the timestamps below. And just a heads up, I will not be covering the game's expansion in this video. So this game originally released on PC, Mac, Saturn, and PS1, but your best bet is to stick to PC. Blizzard released a remake/remaster a few years ago, but I would argue it's not as needed as much as Warcraft 1's remaster. So this lets you change some controls, it nerfs some abilities, kind of balances some stuff, and it lets you choose between the classic or updated look for the graphics. But honestly, I'm not a big fan of the updated look. And they also revamped the cutscenes, but they also removed some of the narration by Bill Roper, which is just really iconic.
The once mighty army of Azeroth lay among the blackened and charred remains of Stormwind Keep. Those that escaped fled across the Great Sea, bringing tales of the suffering they had faced at the hands of the Orcish hordes.
You can grab the remake if you want, but honestly, if you're like me and hate the modern Blizzard, there is another option. Warcraft II Combat Edition is a fan-supported version of the game that includes tons of fixes, updates, and can be played online. That's the version that I'm playing in this video. But if you do go this route, make sure to download the widescreen patch, which I'll post in the description below. Other than that, you're just going to be using your mouse and your keyboard. So good news, this game is far easier to play than Warcraft 1. I would rate the game's difficulty as just right. Okay. The only truly difficult levels are probably like the last 2 or 3 levels for both campaigns, but it's far easier than the first game. Not counting the expansion, the game does feel a little bit longer than Warcraft 1. For a new player, each campaign will probably take you about 10 hours each for a total of 20 hours, but this can be shorter if you've played this game before. Alright, right off the bat, we have a huge change from the first game. You can right-click to move units now. No more clicking M and moving units around that way. We also have oil as a resource, which can only be found at sea. And speaking of the sea, naval combat is another huge addition to this game, along with aerial units as well. But the core mechanics are the same from the first game. So you're going to create peasants or peons, harvest gold and timber and oil, create housing/food, build a base, create an army, and then attack or defend.
I'm a human, and I'm coming. As you wish. I've got the fire of human liberty. I'm setting fires everywhere, and humans are turning on everywhere.
Sometimes you'll be simply destroying the enemy base, but escort missions return from the first game. It's important that you actually look at the mission objectives, as not following them can make the game harder than it needs to be. For example, in this orc mission, I only need to take over this island to win, so attacking the mainland wouldn't mean anything. There are times when you've destroyed the enemy base entirely, but still haven't won. In this map here, it's because I missed one enemy boat in the ocean.
You what?
The key part of this game is upgrading units with the blacksmith or armory, and you need that to gain an advantage over the computer. Finally, your units are less dumb this time around with attacking, but you'll still need to prioritize getting all your units. Keep in mind, like the first game, there will be some available as the campaign progresses, but you'll need to build specific buildings to create them. Other than that, just focus on building up your base. And typically the missions are going to get harder as the campaigns go on. Like all retro games I cover, make multiple save files, especially when you're about to launch a huge invasion. Just save the game. Both campaigns are canon to an extent, so most of the orc campaign is true, but the end of the human campaign is the true ending. So stuff happens in both that are true, but the humans ultimately that's the true ending. Both campaign factions are similar, but they differ with their higher end units. So for instance, the humans get mages, while the orcs get ogres. And then there's paladins on the human side, and then death knights on the orc side. You're also going to get new races. You're going to get dwarves and goblins, high elves. All those different races are going to be for each either the Alliance or the Horde. So big thing in this game is you need to be aggressive, so it's best to go on the offensive early and destroy specific buildings so your enemy can't build them. The computer has a set script for each level, so try to break it. So sometimes the script is they're going to send ships after you, and so you need to destroy their docks so they'll stop building ships, or they'll send aerial units or dragons after you. So each game they're going to have some script that they're going to be utilizing against you. You need to use catapults to knock out towers, and they can basically one-shot some of your units. So just be careful when you see an enemy catapult, because they can wipe out your whole squad in just like one hit. Griffin Riders and Dragons are some of the deadliest and most annoying units in the game, so make sure you have archers or troll berserkers to defend against them. So this another thing I've noticed with this game is it depends on the map, but sometimes if you destroy certain buildings, the computer will stop making them entirely. Sometimes they'll try to rebuild them, other times they'll just stop. If you get stuck on a level, make sure just watch a Let's Play on YouTube. There's so many Let's Plays of this game, and people who are really good at the game, better than I am. I've seen many different ways to beat a level. So, for instance, like there's a level where you have to attack Lordaeron as the Horde, and then there's one where you're attacking the Dark Portal as the Alliance. Those are two levels that are really difficult, and there's multiple ways to beat the level. Finally, another thing is that there's tons of different strategies and abilities with this game, much more than the first game. So the nice thing about this game is that there's many different ways to beat the levels. Warcraft 2 takes everything that was janky, busted, or annoying with Warcraft 1 and makes it 10 times better. The lore surrounding this era of Warcraft is also super interesting, especially as it introduces players to regions found in WoW, like Lordaeron, Kultiras, and Grim Batol. The game has amazing music.
Set sail? Aye aye, sir. Aye aye, sir.
And it still looks really good even 30 years later. The art style is really good, and plus it's not a brutally hard game as well. So if you like Warcraft or World of Warcraft or just like real-time strategy games, this is definitely a game that you need to try out. Let me know what games you want me to look at next. I already have covered games like Silent Hill 1, Warcraft 1, Lego Island, Myst. Let me know which game you want me to cover next. So there we go. I hope you found this guide useful. If there's any questions, just leave it in the comment. If there's a game that you want me to cover next, leave it in the comment. And hopefully we'll get to Warcraft 3 pretty soon, and I'll wrap up the trilogy. But other than that, I hope you have a good one.